Narayana Murthy to our convocation. He was gracious enough to spare the entire morning for us. Okay, I'll sit down. And what we thought would be nice is to have an interactive session with all the faculty and the various boards that we have. So this 1 hour has been set aside for that. You can ask whatever questions you want to after he has given some introductory remarks.
There is no press here, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so. They will be there in a battalion at the next one.
No, man, one can be very honest.
Yeah. Okay, I will now request Hetal to present a bouquet to Mr. Murthy. And Mrs. Trivedi to offer a token of our affection. So without much ado, I think we can carry on your opening remarks, and then they will have some comments.
Well, first of all, let me say that it is indeed a great privilege to be sharing this platform first with all of you and then with Mr. Sanjay Lalbhai, with Praful Anubai and Professor Amarlal Kalro. It's also a great feeling to be with my friend Ramesh as well as with Kiran. I'm so happy to have had an opportunity to come back to Ahmedabad. I was here till 2007 as the chairman of the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, where I saw at close quarters the enthusiasm, the vision, and the extraordinary commitment of Praful. In fact, I must say that he was one of the anchor members of the board. And what was very helpful was that in our efforts to bring about some change in the governance of IIM Ahmedabad, he was a very enthusiastic and dedicated partner. I think it's very, very important that we have to bring in new ideas into the governance of our educational institution. This university is a wonderful example. This is perhaps the first time in the history of this country that we have the Vice Chancellor being called the Provost. As you people know very well, Provost is the academic head of universities in the US. While in India, Vice Chancellorship tends to be a lot more administrative than academic, as I have observed at many universities. But the fact that the Board of Governors have decided to name him the Provost is a very clear indication of the importance that this university places on academia as opposed to just administration. I did learn a lot of data and statistics about this university. The fact that Shri Kasturbai Lalbhai bought 600 acres of land to create a cluster of institutions here in this area way back in 1936 or so. The fact that even today this university has 250 acres of land right in the middle of the city. Today, of course, at that point in time, it was obviously on the outskirts. But to have the vision to commit to such extraordinary kind of munificence so early is a wonderful example for all of us to follow. I don't want to take any more time. I'd be very happy to answer any of your questions. And if I am very open and honest, I hope you people will not mind. Please, just introduce yourself and please ask. Please.
And I teach economics at HL Institute of Commerce. I would like to ask you what kind of education reforms India needs to build world-class university?
You know, I serve on the, well, till recently I used to serve on the board of Stanford University, Cornell University. I still serve on the board of Wharton and a couple of universities, Tokyo University and a university in Europe. Therefore, setting aside humility, I must say that I have a little bit of experience in having observed how decisions are taken in universities outside, how the focus on problem solving is maintained. So the fundamental difference I find between universities outside India, particularly in the US and in India, is the focus on problem solving, on relating to the reality whatever they learn in the classroom, even if it is physics, which could be in the realm of particularly theoretical physics. It could be purely in the realm of imagination and manipulation of mathematics. By and large, as you people know, string theory is at this point in time just mathematics. These are all conjectures in essence. But I find that one of the things that I did when I was on the board of these universities, I spent 8 years at these universities and was to attend classes, even though I hardly understood the rigor that went with what they were teaching. So what I found was that even when they were discussing what appeared to be rather theoretical, they took examples from the real world as analogies. And in the case of many other branches of physics, or even mathematics, for example, at Stanford, I attended a course. I was a visiting professor for a few weeks. They wanted me to be there for 3 years, but I couldn't afford. And while I gave a series of lectures, when they asked me what I wanted from them, I said, look, I want to attend a few courses. And one of the courses that I attended was a course. It was primarily advanced mathematics for commercial applications and medical applications. This was attended by students of MBA, PhD from the business school and the School of Medicine at Stanford. And even there, when they were teaching mathematics, I found that for every theoretical concept they introduced, they related to the reality around us. And I found that even though I couldn't truly appreciate the advanced mathematics that they were teaching, I could at least appreciate the real life situation that they were using these concepts. So the fundamental difference is I find that there is so much focus on problem solving, whereas here it's a question of learning by rote. It's a question of learning a few problems, and then one of them will be given in the exam, and they would. So that's why I have lost faith in our IITs, because if you learn 20 kinds of problems, then one of them will appear and then you pass the entrance exam. So JEE has lost the glamour and the prestige that it had in the 60s. So anyway, the fundamental difference is problem solving, which is lacking in our country.
I'm Tejal Andarya. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, after all the information system management subject, my question is, what are the best ways to increase the interest related to IT management among the youth? Because generally youth believes that it's only engineering subject, it's only the technology subject. So what are the best ways for that? So could you please help?
No, I do think that as long as you pose it in a manner that it has business value to the management of the company, then it becomes very attractive to youngsters. After all, information management has to be one of the most exciting courses, because all of us depended on information, which is nothing but structured data, for taking decisions. And there are lots of issues here. That is, what is the best structure to convey maximum amount of information out of data that is available? Second, how do you make sure that the information is available only to the people who need it? That's where security becomes very, very important. Third, how do you make sure that accessing this information is pretty easy and pretty quick? And that's where performance engineering becomes very important. And performance engineering, as you know, is nothing but mathematical modeling of software systems and hardware systems. As you know, a lot of work has been done in the performance evaluation of hardware systems, but unfortunately there is not that much work done in the performance evaluation of software systems, particularly those systems that are yet to be built, and particularly the bespoke systems. Most work in software systems, performance evaluation of software systems, has been done in the area of standard packages. On the other hand, to be able to say that, to be able to say a priori that these 5 transactions of the system that you will build will have sub-second response time at this kind of load, when this many terminals or this many PCs are accessing it, when the database size is this large, when the index levels in the B star index tree is so many, etc., etc. I think this is one of the most exciting stuff. So it all depends on how you teach it. As long as you teach the students the importance of information in taking business decision, as long as you talk about security, as long as you talk about performance evaluation, as long as you talk about information structures, I do believe that youngsters would show a lot of interest. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ashis. The question is that from IT service-based industries, India is moving and should move towards creating its own products and hardware systems as well. It's a slow change. My question is that if we create professionals, some of the industries are a bit skeptical whether they would have positions for such professionals who can actually create products, and would they have some option in the country here? What is your opinion about it?
No, I mean, since Infosys has both a product and lots of services, I can claim to have had a little bit of experience in both. Finacle, the core banking solution that we offer, has, is about $400 million. It's about approximately 2,000 crores. It's not a big one, but still, by Indian standards, it's clearly the largest. And it has been it's been in play for over 15 years now. And at the same time, last year we derived about 25,000 crores from the services. So in some sense, I have some idea of both. I personally believe that there is a mindset difference between products and services. Products are to be designed with with a set of requirements, which is one, it should have a layered implementation. In other words, it should be possible to go from one operating system to another. It should be possible to go from one database to another. It should be possible to go from one middleware to another. It should be possible to go from one user interface to another user interface, particularly language, currencies, etc., etc. So therefore, when you develop a product, you have to have a layered approach. Second, when you develop a product, you must do it in such a way that the core doesn't get altered much, because this product is already installed in hundreds, thousands of installations. Therefore, if you want those people to continue to use the current version of the product, while some of the users can indeed go to the next version, whatever improvement you want to bring has to be brought about in a layered manner. In other words, the new features that you add, the new improvements that you bring in must have backward compatibility, as we say. I think then third, of course, there is the issue of you develop performance engineering models, because when you go to a bank, when we go to a bank and then say, look, we want to sell Finacle to you, the question they would ask is, look, these are our 5 or 6 critical transactions, and we have this many customers. We know it's distributed over so many branches in the country, and therefore we want this kind of response time for these transactions. Therefore, you must be in a position to provide that kind of modeling capability. So I personally don't think there is any difference between the two, but as long as the leaders of the organization have understood the fundamental differences and prepare the youngsters for implementing or for designing either a product framework or a services framework, it's fine. Yeah, please.
Yeah. I'm Pratik Munshi. I'm assistant professor in the MCA college. My question is slightly long, if you'll excuse me. About 10 years ago, I purchased a book by Mr. Bill Gates on business at speed of thought. And unfortunately, I could not actually read that book. Last week, I got a chance to read the book. And I actually like the idea of the digital nervous system which he talks about, with the help of PC and internet. And I think he has shown in that book that what any kind of organization can do with digital nervous system. And he has given number of examples where in US, small and large companies have basically implemented this concept. What I found out was that in India, even today also, there are very few organizations who have this digital nervous system implemented. So, and another thing I felt was that this book can be useful to IT professionals as well as everybody else, starting from the junior most executive to the CEO. So, should it be made a compulsory reading for people who are actually going to be professionals?
You know, I must say that I have not read the book, though I have glanced and I just started reading. Therefore, I really don't know much about the subject that you're talking about. Therefore, I won't be able to comment on that. I'm sure you know better than I do. Therefore, you can say whether it is important for every college or every IT profession to learn about it.
And can you suggest some books which would be useful for young IT professionals and the management professionals also? Because I feel reading is a very good habit and it should be cultivated.
I tell you, I mean, two things have happened in the last 10 years in the area of computer science. Not that I am a computer scientist, but I meet lots of professors, as I said, because I'm connected. I was connected with these universities, and I get on an average about 20-25 professors from outside India. every year. So therefore, all that I can say is that there's a lot of focus that has shifted from books to papers these days, but mostly papers in conferences. You see, the uniqueness of computer science is that most papers that have made seminal contribution to the field or those that are presented at prestigious conferences like SICOM. And therefore, I would say the youngsters should use the power of internet. The youngsters, you see, Cornell has a database where people publish their papers even before it is accepted by any journal. I don't know, probably you know, George Perelman, you know, who proved the Poincare conjecture, published his proof at the on the Cornell University portal. So if our youngsters look at some of those things, I personally believe that it will be very helpful. As I said, I am not very familiar with books because I don't read many of them. So I would be the wrong person to you know, prescribe any particular textbook. See, what involved in the corporate world is we become slowly, we become more and more and more illiterate in some sense, because we are busy going from meeting to meeting, busy going from discussion to discussion, and therefore the ability, the mental capacity to absorb the wisdom from the books keeps reducing. I mean, this has happened to me, therefore I can say that. I don't know if it happens to everybody, but definitely it has happened to me. Please, yeah.
I'm Devyani and I take economics at BKMIPA. Software engineers, they are usually very highly paid as compared to people in the academic world. Now, I want to know, like, is it the market which is determining this wage divide, or the software people actually deserve such a high remuneration?
No. I think you know it very well. It is all about demand and supply. Those of us who have accepted the free market system, of course, it has to improve a lot, but we have all accepted that when the supply is constant, when the demand increases, the prices go up. So therefore, at this point of time, because the demand is more than supply, and the supply is not increasing at the same pace as demand, the prices have, the salaries have been going up. And I'm sure there will come a time, at least for the sake of our youngsters, I hope not pretty soon, when this phenomenon will change. I mean, we have seen this happen to other industries too. There was a time when civil engineers were the best, were paid best, because there were lots of civil engineering projects, there were not too many civil engineers. There was a time when mechanical engineers were paid better than other engineering graduates, because there were lots of factories coming up. So I do think that it's just a transitory phenomenon when the demand is increasing faster than supply. In some sense, supply is not increasing too. Yeah, please.
Sir, I'm Director for MCVC program. The question is related to e-governance. Present now, the central government as well as state governments of the country, they are spending huge amount on the e-governance initiative, particularly for the citizens. Now, what do you feel, like whether it's a success or it's a failure?
Well, e-governance initiatives have been a success in some states, in some areas. For example, this Bhumi project in Karnataka has brought some value to the farmers to the rural folks in getting their khata for the land, etc. Similarly, in certain states, the driving license system has been a success because it has reduced the hassles for people. So you have to measure success in terms of the value leverage that you get when you spend a rupee or unit, when you make unit investment. What is value leverage? Value, as you know better than I do, is, according to the economists, what you get. Price is what you pay, right? That's the difference between price and value. As long as the ratio of value to price is higher and higher and higher as you go forward, then you find that that system is more and more useful, right? So therefore, I would say as a professor, the best way for you to say whether a system has been successful or not is to go and conduct a survey and in some way measure the value leverage of any of these initiatives. Those initiatives that give a much higher value leverage compared to the other ones are clearly more successful.
Sir,
Good
good morning, sir.
Yeah.
I'm Jatin Christie, and I'm a part of the OB and HR faculty group in MBA. I almost had a sleepless night yesterday just to be a part of this interaction. I have two questions, but basically
one at a time.
Basically,
because
one.
I will forget it. Just ask one at a time.
What are the biggest HR challenges you face at the present moment? And the question stems from the fact that we keep on contemplating about the final product in MBA. What should be the final product? What is the need of the industry?
Well, the biggest challenge that any company in the knowledge industry faces is how do we attract, enable, by that I mean train constantly, empower, by that I mean create an environment where their full value can indeed be leveraged by the organization in such a way they're happy, enthusiastic, and energetic, and retain the best and the brightest. That is the biggest challenge, whether it's Microsoft or Google or Infosys or TCS. We all have the same problem. And given now coming to attraction, as demand keeps increasing, as more and more multinationals start opening their development centers here. They're all cost centers. Therefore, in a cost center model, you can afford to provide much higher salaries compared to a profit center model of Indian companies. Therefore, the multinationals by and large pay much higher salary. Therefore, the Indian companies tend to get lower and lower quality of talent. I mean, it's natural. There's nothing unusual about it. Therefore, as the quality of the people keeps coming down, I mean, there is another reason why the quality of people keeps coming down. I mean, we have been recruiting larger and larger number of students. For example, 10 years ago, we would have recruited about 5,000 people. Last year, we recruited 25,000 engineers. This year, we'll recruit 30,000 engineers. And therefore, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel. And when you do that, the quality of the people that you get is not as good as you would like. And therefore, what we have done is we have expanded the internal training from 14 weeks earlier to 29 weeks now. And I think we find that now there is an even bigger, even longer duration required because the capability of these youngsters to speak English is very, very suspect. And quite often, companies, not just us, our Indian companies have had serious problem in letting these youngsters go and interact with customers because customers get exasperated about interacting with people who cannot complete a simple sentence. So therefore, I think our challenge is to enhance the training capability. Second, of course, empower. As opportunities keep increasing, as demand keeps increasing, as the supply doesn't keep pace with demand, somehow we start believing that we are God's gift to the mankind. It doesn't matter. I may be at the bottom of my class, but when I join a company and then I see that I have so many opportunities, I think that I am the last word in IT, and therefore my expectations automatically keep increasing, which is natural. You can't blame the youngsters for that. And therefore, their demands keep increasing compared to the facilities that you provide. For example, my company has given stocks to everybody, starting from the janitor right up to the highest level at the non-founders. I mean, this is the only company in India. And we have the finest campuses in the country. I mean, these are all facts. There's nothing arguable about it. I mean, we provide the highest salary amongst all Indian companies when we send youngsters abroad. In spite of that, youngsters keep expecting more and more and more. So therefore, our challenge is, how do we satisfy the increasing aspirations of youngsters? They are right. There's nothing wrong with their expecting more and more. But we have to come out with a strategy that is a balance between their expectations and our resources. And if we don't do that, then you won't be able to retain. I think this is the big challenge.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm eating up your time, but I'll just take... basically, if we talk of possibly the poorest man on the street, or possibly some of the richest people that are there in the country, something that's really dear to them, a possession that they have is their children. And everybody really wants their children to be educated well, go to a good school.
Yeah.
This is one side of the story.
Yeah.
We, as I represent the government of Gujarat, we've been having various campaigns for 100% enrollment, particularly for the girl child. And when we travel to all these remote villages and speak to children there and ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? 90% of the children, when they are young, raise their hands to say they want to become teachers. But somewhere along the line, as they grow up, this whole thing gets skewed, and because of maybe the influence of media, the kind of offensive disparities that you have in salaries and status and so on, they don't find teaching a glamorous job or something. They may find it happy, something that gives them happiness and so on, but still they don't choose it. We as a community, whether it's the government, industry, academia, how do we work about creating a mass change in the mindsets of people? Because we cannot afford to have poor quality teachers. People shouldn't come into teaching by chance rather than choice. And what we get is really the dregs. People who don't get admission anywhere is the ones who get in. And when we talk of science education, things are pretty bad. You don't have BSc, pure science students, and therefore BSc, B.Ed. And that is actually affecting the quality of students that go through 8th standard and so on. So.
No, I think that's a very, very important issue that you raised. This is a problem in Karnataka. This is a problem everywhere. You know, the reason is the lack of recognition. Recognition comes in multiple forms. One, obviously, in the form of pecuniary benefits. Second, in the form of respect. Now, let me talk about respect first. When I was a student, the teachers were treated by parents with utmost respect. For example, I remember in 1961, my father and I, we were going to a local temple, and then the headmaster of our school was coming from the other side. And my father immediately said, you go to the other side of the road because you can't face your teacher. No, I mean, and if the teacher came to if the teachers came to our house, we would stand up, we would touch their feet, all of that. That is because parents demonstrated the importance of respect to these people by their own behavior. That, I think, has gone. Similarly, when I was much younger, on Nehru's birthday, which is November 14th, on the Nehru's, I think at those days it was Nehru's birthday, then it became separate Teachers' Day. In every state, the best teachers would be awarded prize. It would, in every district, this would happen in every district center. All the children would go there, parents would go there. There would be 1,500, 2,000 people. And in front of those, these teachers would receive the honor. I mean, it was a big day for all children, for all parents, not all parents, for, lots of parents. I think somehow we have not done that. And this is well within the powers of the education department to bring back the glory of teachers. Then, of course, there is the issue of pecuniary compensation, salaries. And that, I think, in the US, if I'm sure Amar will remember, in the 80s, late 70s and early 80s, the salaries of, or middle 80s, the salaries of professors at the university fell way behind the industry average. And pretty quickly, they took a decision to revise it so that that difference was not too much. Their logic was, as long as the salary plus the freedom plus the freedom of doing research plus the kind of holidays that they got was much greater than just the salary, they said this is fine. However, we have not been able to do any systematic study and then bring about corrections. So at the end of the day, I think today, because we have, on the good side, we have a lot more children going to school, children from various backgrounds, where parents may not all have appreciation for teachers. Therefore, I think there is a little bit of issue on that. But I'm sure with people like you, it can be addressed.
I'm Anay Mashruwala. I'm a visiting faculty at the MBA Institute. I teach marketing for small-scale industries and industrial marketing, and I head the quality control and marketing department in my organization. I have a question for the personal front and for teaching to the students as well. So you are one of those people in the industry, one of those captains in the industry who has been able to keep an excellent balance on the personal front and on the professional front as well. Number one, how do you do that, and how do we teach that to the students?
Balance in terms of what? I didn't understand.
Balance in terms of the quality of values that you have been able to create in the family, and the amount of time that we read about that you spend with your family, and the amount of time you get to read and spend for your organization also, and both of them to grow together.
No, I think, for me it's a very simple problem, because I am a first generation entrepreneur. I came from a middle class, lower middle class background. So it's very, very simple. The bigger problem, and that's where I appreciate a lot of people, a lot of business people who have continued to demonstrate good value system, good governance, even though they are the third, fourth, fifth, whatever generation of business people. For them, it's a much bigger problem. I think we need to respect those people much more than people like us, for whom it was much simpler, and we need to take them as role models. There are many, many people who have done all those wonderful things, even though they have lived in a certain circumstance, certain environment, certain accepted norms of behavior for long, and they have made tremendous improvements in these things. That's what I would say.
So how do you teach it to the students? Because it's a very important part of...
No, I think if you can invite some people, and there are many in Ahmedabad, one sitting next to me is there, all that you need to do is invite them. If they can come and talk about a few examples from their own lives where they had to exercise, where they had to take tough decisions to preserve their values, to stand for something, and then the children will understand. After all, value system always translates to a certain cost that we are willing to pay for your belief. For example, let's say that you and I are going on a road, and we suddenly find a 500 rupee bill, and you say, look, some poor fellow has dropped it, so let's go and give it to the police. Of course, in India, giving it to the police may not be the answer, but still. Whereas I say, no, nobody is looking at it, you take 250, I will take 250. Your value system is automatically better than mine. So therefore, value system always translates to your ability to pay a certain cost for your beliefs and your convictions. Therefore, if these role models can indeed talk about their experiences in paying a price for their beliefs and convictions, and how in spite of all of that they have come ahead, I do think that youngsters will get inspired.
Two more questions.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Later, please.
Sir, I am Dr. Bijal Mehta. I am a faculty in the MBA program of the Amrut Modi School of Management. Sir, my question partly relates to the initial point that you had raised regarding having a problem-solving approach to the delivery that we make as academicians in the class. Sir, there are two sides which I would like your advice on in this. One is that from the student's point of view, at the higher level of education, the students that we get, by and large, they are the ones who have never been exposed to the corporate environment. Even at the MBA level, after the completion of their first year, we have a summer internship program, and that for majority of them, that is the first point where they have a corporate interaction. So that orientation is lacking from their side when they come to us. So it takes us a while to develop that, and it's almost 2 years and they have left the program. And on the other side, if we talk of ourselves as individuals who are still young, who are ourselves learning and have, at least as far as I talk about myself, I have chosen this profession out of choice. Moving in and out of industry a couple of times, and finally this is my destination, so I am here. But still, after having been in this line for about 7 or 8 years now, I realize that for me also, and I'm sure for many of my friends here, it's important for us to be in touch with the corporate, to know what is actually happening in the management world today, so that we can bring that problem-solving orientation in the class. What kind of support and how can we get that kind of support from the corporate? That is one side. And the other side is, how can we change the orientation of students in such a short time that we have with them, when their basics are still to be formed many times?
You know, see, as I told you earlier, in corporations, certainly the bigger ones, we're all busy from morning to evening, and we don't have the mindset to say, look, why don't we go and invite some professors, they will come, they will add value, etc., etc. That's the drawback on our side. But there is an equally important drawback on the sides of the universities. I will give you a very simple example. Being an engineer, I use data and facts. I don't make generalizations based on some assumptions. Bangalore produces about $20 billion of software export, which is not bad by any standard. $20 billion in an Indian environment is not bad. While I get requests, I get visit from Carnegie Mellon, from Stanford, from Cornell, from MIT, etc. And we work with MIT, we work with Cornell, we work with Carnegie Mellon, we work with Purdue, we work with University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, we work with University of Southern California, we work with University of Texas, Austin, we work with Cambridge University in the UK, etc., etc. We have not had a single visit from any professor at the Institute of Science. Now, I find it very, very strange that this is the case. In fact, I was with my friend Balram, who is the director of Institute of Science. Balram and I were hostel mates at IIT Kanpur, so he's a good friend. So I asked him the same question. I said, I find it very, very strange that you people don't want to come and study. And when I raised it with somebody else at Institute of Science, he said, no, no, you people don't have research problems. So I said, young man, you come and first study whether there are research problems or not. We had a professor from IIT Kanpur, Pankaj Jalote, who came. He found such interesting problems. He said, I want to spend 3 years at Infosys. He came to Infosys, he spent 3 years, and he went back. I mean, talking about research problems, when I was at Stanford, I gave a talk to the computer science department on the leading edge unsolved research problems in my industry. The point I'm making is that it takes two to shake hands, and therefore, while the corporate world may or may not have discharged its duty, I think you people must make lots of efforts to reach out to the corporations, and I can assure you. And then once you start raising interesting problems that have value to them, we have absolutely no issue at all. Absolutely no issue. Because today, we work with about 25 professors from the US, and they all have excellent problems. They are all very happy. They are writing papers. So therefore, I would say that both of us have to change our mindset. Last question.
Good morning, sir. I am Sandeep Vasant, teaching software application subjects at MCA level. My question is that I would like to have idea from your side. How do we produce a directly employable student, and what effort should be put by the particular faculty? Thank you.
No, I mean, as I said earlier, the important thing is that right from our high school days or middle school days, probably high school days, people should be encouraged to think independently. People should be encouraged to view whatever they learn in terms of the real life problems around them. You know, the differential equation that I learned, can I use that to understand a physical phenomenon, etc., etc. I'll give you a very simple example. You probably have read Feynman's book on what do you think, what other people say, or something like that. There he talks about how the California school system had wanted to introduce a textbook, and in that one of the questions was the following. It said, if you see a red star, the temperature is so much. If you see a blue star, the temperature is so much. If you see a white star, the temperature is so much. Therefore, if I see 2 white stars, 3 red stars, and 1 yellow star, something, how much temperature do I see? I mean, and Feynman said, look, it is silly. You don't see temperature. You know, I mean, you experience it. So therefore, he refused to accept that textbook. So the point I'm making is that even in an environment like there are examples where learning is not oriented towards reality. So therefore, if you can make the learning oriented towards reality, if you can explain some physical phenomenon around what you teach. For example, let me give you a suggestion. When we teach a language at Infosys, we don't teach a language, we don't teach the syntax, but we teach a little bit about the semantics. When we talk about a read statement or a write statement, what our people do is they go right up to the movement of the disk arm, how it locates a certain sector, how it writes on that. So what is the impact of a read statement? They also talk about how many disk accesses are needed based on the size of the database for one read. So the youngsters understand what's really happening in the computer system when you execute a read statement or a write statement. So I do think that if you can explain the real life issue around what they learn, they would become that much better.
Well, thank you very much. I think we have come to the end of the session.
Thank you.
At 12 sharp, we will start the convocation proceedings.
Yeah. Now this one, how do I, can this be passed on to me later? Yeah, thanks. Thanks. You know what, why don't I write it later, because I've just come in.
આવે છે સિગ્નલ એટલે હમ બહુ આવે છે
वोट ऑफ थैंक्स से पहले कंक्लूडिंग एड्रेस बाय प्रोवोस्ट फॉर 15 मिनट्स कालरो सर, उसके बाद 5 मिनट्स वोट ऑफ।
પૂજી આવવાની છે? જલદમાં સામે જોઈને તો વગાડવાનું જ નહીં, એમના એટલા ગંદા એક્સપ્રેશન હોય ને, હા એવું જ કરતા હોય. કોના તો કેટલું ગંદુ પી છે.
પહેલો આ શીશા પકડી લેવાનું, પછી બધું સાચું ગઈ.
Proactive and a catalytic one. Reduce the rules set. Remember that Tacitus said as early as 55 AD, that is almost 2000 years ago, he said that the more corrupt the state, the more numerous the laws are. This is 2000 years ago, this is not today. Therefore, for heaven's sake, do not act like an officer of a colonial empire whose interest was to maximize the benefits to his or her government. If you become a politician, I hope many of you, because we need good politicians, become one who is honest, responsive to people's needs, and progressive. Become one who understands the global economic trends. Become one who is able to relate to the people at the grassroots level. Become one whose only dogma is to make this a better country. Remember that there are two faces to India. I have discussed all of that previously. The first is the urban and the industrialized face of India, which is unfortunately the only hope today for creating more and more jobs to solve the problem of our poverty. The second, as I described before, is the poor, the neglected, and the rural face of India, which requires the help of urban India to pull it out of poverty. The aspirations of these two faces of India are completely different. The citizens of the first India want English medium schools for their children, they want good civic amenities, and a good quality of life comparable with the best in the West. The citizens of rural India want at least 2 meals a day, reasonable health care, reasonable education, and reasonable shelter. As a politician, you must understand both these aspirations. Both are very important, both are legitimate. Do whatever is necessary to encourage both these faces of India. Please do not play a zero-sum game between these two faces of India. Such a policy will not bring inclusive and equitable prosperity to our nation. Do not become a victim of any dogma. The only worthwhile dogma for a good politician, which I hope we will become, is to be an honest, hardworking, smart, and quality politician comparable with the best in the world. If you go abroad, some of you will indeed go abroad, become a successful and model citizen of that society. Keep up the image of your mother country and do not do anything willingly or unwillingly that will make other Indians look small in front of foreigners. No wealth or power for an individual is worth making your people look small. Well, I have taken a lot of time talking to you people. I am always very excited when I meet talented youngsters like you. I believe the future of India lies in you. I have no doubt at all that you will indeed become model citizens of this society, or for that matter, whatever society you choose to live in. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Shri Sanjay Lalbhai, Chancellor, Ahmedabad University, Shri Narayana Murthy, Chief Guest of this convocation, Shri Praful Anubai, Chairman, Board of Management, Ahmedabad University, Shri B.M. Shah, Registrar, members of boards and committees of Ahmedabad University, heads of programs, faculty and staff colleagues, distinguished guests and invitees, representatives of the media, parents and family members of graduating students, our first batch of MBA and BBA honors graduates, students of AU, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor for us to have in our midst Shri N.R. Narayana Murthy, a doyen of Indian industry, an enlightened citizen, an architect and advocate of change in our corporate thinking as well as larger society, to build a better and stronger India. A philanthropist and value-driven person as our chief guest of the first convocation of Ahmedabad University. It is my fond hope that we will all draw inspiration from him and his scintillating address in what we do and how we contribute to the larger objective of building a truly vibrant and equitable society in India. India is a great country, has been and will continue to be. There are many significant achievements in practically every field, many of which have already been referred to by our chief guest. But there are many paradoxes. In less than 2 decades, India is once again at the crossroads, engulfed by many crises. Earlier, we faced a major economic crisis from which we could emerge by ushering in economic reforms and liberalization in our economic policies. This time, we confront serious problems of governance, sponsored terrorism and internal insurgency, erosion of our institutions, a widening divide between the rich and the poor, increasing social inequities as well as access to resources, widespread coercive and consensual corruption, declining morality and ethical standards. These issues are very complex and require a concerted effort by all segments of society, our law and policy makers, our democratic institutions, the political leadership, and the governance system. We will have to rediscover the timeless values propagated and promoted by our seers and wise leaders. In addition, we will have to make the constitutional right to education a reality and ensure access to education. Economic and social development are closely linked to education and gross enrollment. Both primary and higher education are important. While the former lays the foundation, the latter provides the cutting edge. And the key to higher education lies in our universities. India has been the cradle of modern civilization, and the first university in the world was established in India more than 2,700 years ago. At the time of independence, there were only 30 universities in India. There are today more than 400 universities in the country, and the number is increasing. Unfortunately, there are only few which have emerged as islands of excellence in an ocean of mediocrity. The National Knowledge Commission, the University Grants Commission, many state governments and professional bodies have tried to grapple with this issue. Some reforms have been initiated, but many more are required. Unless these are addressed urgently, higher education in India will lag considerably behind the best universities in the world and even the best universities in other emerging economies. There is a crying need to reinvent higher education. According to Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of independent India, a university stands for humanism, for tolerance, for reason, for the adventure of ideas, and for the search for truth. It stands for the onward march of the human race toward higher objectives. Universities are places of ideals and idealism. Many of our universities are plagued by problems of governance, political and bureaucratic interference, paucity of human, infrastructural and financial resources, academic inflexibility, very little innovation, research, and large size. What we need is to formulate sustainable solutions with and for the people so that they can have equal access to the benefits of a globalizing world. We need more innovation, more flexibility, more generation of knowledge, improved access, and competitive quality. We have to rediscover values, cultivate wisdom, create technological awareness, emphasize ethical codes of conduct and morality, promote social responsibility and community engagement, and of course, good leadership. We at Ahmedabad University are constantly addressing these issues within the framework of the autonomy that we have as a self-financed, non-affiliating private university established under Section 3(1) of the Gujarat Private Universities Act of 2009. In that year, 5 of the self-financed colleges established by Ahmedabad Education Society became constituents of Ahmedabad University. These were the AES Postgraduate Institute of Business Management, or the HLMBA, BK Majumdar Institute of Business Administration, the HLBBA, HL Institute of Commerce, the HLIC, AES Institute of Computer Studies, the HLMCA, and HL Institute of Computer Applications, HLBCA. The first three are today part of the Amrut Modi School of Management, and the last two are a part of the School of Computer Studies. All have been accredited by National Assessment and Accreditation Council and have received very high grades. All have emerged as the first choice of faculty and students among the self-financed institutions in Gujarat in their respective fields. The last 2 years have indeed been momentous for us as we march ahead in our pursuit of inquiry and providing global education at local cost, context, and ethos. I will briefly summarize some of our achievements in pursuing the objectives of quality, flexibility, innovation, access, social responsibility, new contemporary programs, international collaborations, deployment of technology, and faculty development. At the very outset, we conducted a complete review of all our undergraduate and postgraduate programs with support from employers, alumni, eminent academicians, and internal faculty for their syllabi, depth, pedagogy, and evaluation methods. From this review, new program designs and delivery methods emerged. These methods are being followed up by an internal and external academic audit. From the very beginning, we adopted a trimester system and credit-based choice of electives. Preliminary efforts have been made in allowing students to take courses across programs and to choose their major areas of specialization within programs. In the MBA program, students can also opt for a minor in addition to the chosen major area. Following this review, new programs have also been launched. The student intake in BCom and BBA has also been increased to respond to the growing demand for these programs. Despite the increase in intake, the cutoffs have not been lowered. Two of the new programs launched are the BBA Honors and the EMBA. We entered into an agreement with Judge Business School Executive Education to design and develop an EMBA program with an international immersion of 6 weeks powered by the Pembroke Kings program and the Judge Business School of the University of Cambridge. This program is targeted mainly at students with family business backgrounds and aspiring entrepreneurs. The first batch of students joined this program in January 2011 and is presently undergoing the immersion at Cambridge. To enable more students to get an international exposure and be a part of a larger group of students from about 30 premier universities across the world, we also permitted a few final year students from our programs to go to Cambridge University. The faculty coordinator of AU at this program reports, there are several students from Yale, Harvard, University of California, and they all are of various nationalities. There are many of Asian origin, Indian, Chinese, Korean, and Japanese. Classroom activities and social events help them network. The entire experience is definitely worthwhile. Everyone is gaining a lot of experience through this exposure, whether it is managing one's own life in an absolutely different environment or studying formally in the classroom. Every occasion adds to learning. One of the participants has sent us the following message. I feel proud to be studying with fellow students from universities like Harvard, Yale, UC, etc. I wanted to share the studying culture over here. There is a lot of pre-reading and post-reading to be done before and after the lectures, respectively. There are clear course outlines which mention the pre-reading and post-reading, and they seem to be sticking to that plan very efficiently, which helps the students get more out of class teaching. The maximum number of students in a class is not more than 25. which makes the sessions very interactive. There are seminars in which the class of 25 is also divided into 2 parts, which makes the learning a very rich and knowledgeable experience. Ahmedabad University, as our Chancellor reported, has signed a MOU in the month of March 2011 with Center for Design Research, Stanford University, to establish Venture Studio, a center for innovative business design. IIMA, IIT Gandhinagar, and NIT have joined as network partners. Delft University in the Netherlands has also extended support to this initiative by way of facilitating faculty and student exchange programs. The ultimate aim of Venture Studio is to create an ecosystem in Ahmedabad similar to the Silicon Valley in California. The first batch of fellows of Venture Studio who will undergo a 6-month program will join in September 2011. Faculty from Stanford and AU will anchor this program. Ahmedabad University has also already established a Center for Heritage Management and has signed a MOU with University of Valladolid, Spain in June this year to offer short duration professional programs and a master's degree program in heritage management. Students from both countries will be enrolled in this program, which will be conducted partly at AU and partly at the University of Valladolid. The degree will be offered jointly by the 2 universities. The first professional program will be held this year, and the master's degree program will commence in August 2012. Ahmedabad University is also pursuing several collaboration opportunities with other universities to offer contemporary and advanced level programs in the fields of family business, finance, and management. Ahmedabad University is constantly pursuing its objective of improving access to higher education. It is our philosophy that no student should be denied access to higher education for want of economic means and social backwardness. We have implemented the guidelines for private universities on inclusiveness and also believe that merit and merit alone should be the basis for general admission to our programs. Accordingly, the university has implemented a scholarship scheme for undergraduate students with support from the Sardashish Scholarship Scheme of the Torrent Foundation and from its own resources. A corpus fund is being generated from the fee income to support such scholarships. The university also enables economically weaker students to travel abroad with other students for international exposure. Such study visits have been arranged in the past by the BBA and BCom programs. It may not be out of place for me to mention here that Ahmedabad University has voluntarily surrendered its management quotas in all programs. Ahmedabad University has consciously introduced courses on social awareness and social transformation so as to enable its students to understand their country better and to motivate them to undertake a number of social development activities. I would like to make a special mention of the Individual Social Responsibility Initiative project, which has made compulsory, even though it's non-credit, for all MBA students. Through these projects, we seek to inculcate in them social sensitivity, ethical values, and building an inclusive society. Ahmedabad University has made major investments in technology to facilitate learning and academic administration. An ERP system is being implemented and several modules are already operational. The system also has a back-end learning management system which facilitates online access to study materials, distribution and submission of assignments, online examinations, and other internal communications. With the help of this system, admissions to all undergraduate programs could be done online this year, and the entire process was more transparent and efficient. Ahmedabad University places great emphasis on building the capabilities and development of its faculty. Faculty members are not only encouraged to attend and participate in conferences, seminars, and faculty development programs. We have also deputed 7 faculty members to Cambridge University for varying durations to learn from the leaders and pursue their research activities. The university has established a separate fund for faculty development and is committed to growing this activity further. I now turn to say a few words to the first batch of graduates of Ahmedabad University. You have reached a significant milestone in your life. For many of you, this will be your terminal degree and the end of a highly sheltered life, both at home and your educational institutions. As you emerge from your cocoon, you will face the challenges, opportunities, and hardships of the world around you. You will constantly be making trade-offs and choices in your personal and professional lives. In this context, I would like to narrate to you the following excerpt from the book, The Phantom of New York by Frederick Forsyth, which is purportedly a conversation somewhat as follows between the Bishop of New York and God. Says the bishop, "Lord, why is there so much sadness, brutality, crime, discrimination, and exploitation in this world?" To which God replies, "Are you rebuking me, Father?" The bishop replies, "Lord, I cannot even dream of doing so. It is just that you could have created a perfect world, but chose not to do so." God replies, "If I did, then how would man know the difference between joy and sorrow, happiness and sadness, moral and immoral, ethical and unethical, equity and inequity? I did not tell man what to do, but provided him the means to make choices. The choice has been and will always be his. I hope and pray that you will always be guided by the teachings of the masters and your own conscience in making the right choices. I urge you to always keep in mind the timeless values of dharma, karma, nishtha, bhakti, karuna, and maryada. Do not succumb to greed. Accept that which you cannot change. Work to change that which you can and has to be changed, and the wisdom to know the difference. Always be informed about the wonders of attitude, the miracles of belief, the power of perseverance, the joy of sharing, the fruits of patience, and the dynamics of goals. Above all, have faith and believe in yourself. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out in the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in a state of mind. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the one who thinks he can. I wish you success, happiness, and contentment in your professional and personal lives. May your journey through life be illuminated by the light of knowledge, wisdom, your actions, and concern for larger society. May the Lord Almighty bless you all. I now request the graduating students to stand and repeat this oath after me. I pledge today to conduct myself in a manner that is socially responsible, ethically correct, morally upright, and environmentally sensitive. I will earnestly endeavor to be trustful, trustworthy, and rule abiding in all my actions, and to preserve the dignity and prestige of my country and my university. Please sit down. Finally, I express my sincere gratitude to the management, faculty and staff colleagues, students and their family members, the government and society at large for their support and help to build the university of our dreams. Thank you.
Honorable Chancellor Shri Sanjay Lal Bhai, respected Chief Guest Shri Narayana Murthy, other dignitaries of the dais and respected dignitaries of the dais. Indeed, 18 July 2011 will be remembered by the Team Ahmedabad University and the graduating students as historic day in memory of the first convocation. Ahmedabad University has always remained fortunate in getting iconic personalities. First we had Dr. APJ Kalam on the foundation, then today we have in form of Narayana Murthy, great name to bless all the students. I feel honored to propose a vote of thanks in successful conclusion of today's function. I begin with my extending sincere thanks to the Chancellor Shri Sanjay Lal Bhai in leading the first convocation that will be recorded as one of the most significant chapters in the history of Ahmedabad University. On behalf of the management and entire team of Ahmedabad University, I feel privileged to express our sincere thanks and gratitude to Shri Narayana Murthy for spontaneously accepting our invitation to be the chief guest on this function in showering words of wisdom and blessing to the graduating students. Sir, we'll always cherish the moments we all spent with you today and put in our best efforts to mold our life around thoughts and views that you express for the benefit of all concerned. I must thank all the dignitaries from Government of Gujarat, members of governing body, Board of Management, and the members of Advisory Committee, as also the members of Ahmedabad Education Society for the guidance and support. My special thanks to the donors who have been kind and generous enough to the society, to the university. We have received almost 40 crores of rupees donation in just 1.5 years. Sincere thanks to all the donors. I take this opportunity to thank all the esteemed guests present over here, honoring our invitation despite this being the working day. We are all delighted by your presence all throughout. I would also like to thank for the commendable services that all the service providers have put in for making this hall worthy of it. It was a great challenge for all of them. Just before 30 days before, there was nothing over here. All of them have worked very hard, and we can see the results today. The media friends have always helped us in spreading words about what the university is and what it plans to do. We are grateful to all of them. Lastly, I thank the entire team Ahmedabad University with a special mention to the volunteers for making this function a memorable one, and a final word of appreciation for the students graduating today and their parents for the confidence that they had put in Ahmedabad University even before it was born. We wish them all the success in their life at all time and all places. Once again, thanking you all, I close this note. Thank you.
I declare the convocation closed, and please stand up. There will be a national anthem.
All members in the convocation hall are requested to remain standing after the national anthem till the convocation procession departs. Thank you.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय
Please remain standing till the convocation procession departs. Thank you. Please remain standing. Thank you. Wish you a life full of promises and overwhelming accomplishments. May the bright sun enlighten your path and may its colors bring you new joys and hopes. The Ahmedabad University wishes you success. We all will miss you. All invited guests, parents and relatives of graduating students and the graduating students are invited for ice cream which is arranged on this floor. Graduating students are requested to proceed to room number S9 to hand over their stalls and receive their degree certificates. Faculty members are requested to proceed to room number F8 to return their stalls and proceed for lunch at the closed plaza. Thank you all for joining us. We look forward to welcome you again to Ahmedabad University. Thank you. Namaskar.